Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Fix It Once, Fix It Right. I'm Amanda, and as many of you already may know, I'm an operational strategist. Over the years, I've worked with COOs who are solving huge problems. The kind where small blind spots quietly grow into multi-million dollar leaks. So today, we're going deeper. I'll walk you through the top three things I often see COOs miss. And of course, we'll go over some real world examples, lessons, and actionable steps that you can take immediately to close these gaps. So picture this, it's Q2. You're reporting to the CEO and the board that your KPIs look fine. Revenue is growing at, let's say, an 8%. Costs are manageable and your teams are meeting their targets. But beneath these numbers, you, as the COO, you can feel the friction. Now, at this point, I would say because you are the COO, you need to tap into your emotional intelligence. Now, a few team members are behind. Cross functional alignment looks a little bit fuzzy. Surprises keep arising, and vendor miscommunications. Let's say your tech rollouts are going a little bit off track, and repeated employee complaints that no one is listening. You're in that zone where everything seems mostly fine, but you sense something is leaking, but you just don't know where. So let's bring those blind spots into light. Okay. Here are the three things that I often see miss. The first thing here is the emotional underlayer. Employee disengagement and subtle friction are excellent at metrics. They know headcount, they know productivity ratios, hopefully, turnover stats, things like that. But often what goes unseen are emotional currents, disengagement, quiet resentment, maybe not so quiet, political micro battles. And I don't mean political as in the political external field, I mean political as internal tribe vibe. I like you, I don't like you, that kind of political micro battles. And latent resistance. Let's go over an example here. So Yahoo's former COO, Henrique De Castro, in 2014, Marissa Mayer fired him after just 15 months. The report said that he did not fit the culture and did not deliver results aligned with Mayer's intent. So in this case, credentials weren't enough because if a COO can't embed into the culture, they end up fighting 1,000 soft resistance every single day. So what's at stake? You lose discretionary effort, the extra problem solving, the volunteered ideas, the creativity. And while that loss is inevitable at first, it later shows up in measurable ways like rework, turnover, declining innovation, and even lower customer satisfaction scores. So, how do we catch it? You can use a pulse survey with open text fields and actually follow up on what people write. Or you can create small leadership teams. Sometimes we like to call them listening teams, whose only job is to surface tension points every single month. Now, the transformation is powerful. What was once invisible emotions becomes very visible input. And when you respond, you rebuild trust and reclaim energy. You don't even know what you're missing. Now, the second thing here is putting technology before process alignment. This one's everywhere. COOs get sold on a promise of a shiny new, let's say, ERP, automation, or AI dashboard, only to discover that the technology creates more chaos than clarity because the underlying processes weren't ready. In digital transformation research, misalignment between business processes and IT strategy is often one of the biggest killers of ROI. I've seen this firsthand. A global industrial company spent millions on a new IT platform, but roles weren't clarified, data ownership was a little bit fuzzy, and the handoffs weren't mapped. Sometimes I refer to them as process boundaries. Adoption was so low that employees defaulted back to Excel spreadsheets, which you know how much I dislike. And the new tool became a very expensive band aid, frankly. So the truth is that this technology will only ever be as strong as the processes that it supports. Automating a broken process just creates automating chaos. You've all heard of the expression garbage in, garbage out, and that's what I'm referring to here. So, how do we catch it? Before approving any new technology, run a process audit. Map the actual current state, not the idealized one. Okay, not the one that you would like it to be. Map what it actually is. Identify 2 or 3 critical process gaps that you must close before rollout, like decision handoffs and data ownership. Next, you want to build a small pilot, measure adoption, and fix the process issues before you scale up. And lastly, here, you want to build cross functional alignment teams like IT, operations, finance, and the business unit who can co own this rollout. When you approach it this way, tech becomes a multiplier instead of a drain. You stop firefighting failed rollouts and start scaling with confidence. And the third one here is the invisible link, operational gaps that leak into your customer experience. Too often, COOs think of customer experience as, like, let's say, the front office work, sales, marketing, customer experience. But in reality, every internal misfire echoes externally. A delayed handoff, an unclear SOP, a misaligned promise, they all show up in ways that customers experience your brand. Let's take a look at a telecom company, for example, one whom I won't name. In this case study across the industry, churn has been traced to poor alignment between operations and customer facing teams. Sales promised one delivery time, but operations couldn't fulfill it. Customers felt misled, even though internally the teams felt that they had delivered. So, what's at stake? Lower net promoter scores, higher churn, negative word of mouth, and ultimately lost revenue. And for those losses, cost far more than fixing any internal inefficiencies that caused them. So, how do you catch it? The first thing I want you to do is map the full customer journey, not just the external touch points, but every internal step that supports delivery. Create cross functional customer war rooms, okay, which is actually a term I used to use back in the 90s. It was very heavily used then. And it essentially refers to high stakes accounts to surface operational leaks, essentially to have very hard business discussions that need to be surfaced and resolved now. The next one here is I want you to feed voice of the customer. Take that data directly into your operational reviews. Set up internal SLAs between operations, support, logistics, and finance. Treat deviations as defects, just like you would in an external customer service failure. The transformation can be your operations stops being an invisible source of leaks and becomes the enabler of your brand promise. Customer experience will be consistent, trust will build, and loyalty will follow. Now, let's take a step back for a moment because these aren't operational misses. They hit you, the leader, directly. Okay. You may find yourself lying awake at night asking, what am I missing? Where's the next leak? Will my teams lose trust if the same problems keep surfacing? Sometimes there's even pressure from the CEO to deliver, and there's pressure from employees to listen. There's pressure also from customers to perform flawlessly. And the fear is real. That tiny oversight today could snowball into tomorrow's crisis. But here's the good news. The shift begins the moment you decide to surface what's been invisible. Audit the emotional health of your team, not just their outputs, okay? Pause any tech rollouts until the processes are aligned. Trace one high value customer journey end to end and close any of those operational gaps or the leaks. Okay. I've seen clients implement just one of these three and notice results within weeks. Less friction, fewer supplier surprises, more alignment. The inner shift is just as important. You stop assuming no news is good news and start proactively looking for the cracks before they widen. And then comes the transformation. Your employees feel heard and trusted. Technology enables instead of frustrates, and customers experience your operational strength as brand reliability. Surprises become rare, alignment becomes a habit, and growth feels less like pushing uphill and more like running with momentum. So let's quickly recap here. The top three things we went over today that COOs I find often miss are the emotional undercurrents of employee disengagement, rushing into technology without process realignment, internal operational gaps that leak directly into your customer experience. If one of these struck a chord, take it as a sign to go deeper. You don't need to fix everything all at once. Addressing even one can create a ripple effect across your entire organization. So if you found this valuable, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. Also hit the bell. And I share strategies every single week, just like this one, to help leaders close the hidden gap and unlock growth. I'd love to hear from you. So which of these three blind spots feels most urgent right now in your business? Drop it in the comments. And for those who want to go further, I've put a link in the description to download an audit checklist that you can use within the next 30 days to scan your organization for any leaks. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep refining, keep listening, and keep leading by design, not by accident.